writing a book is a marathon, and you can do it if you condition your mind, if you be patient with yourself, and if you get the support that you need from other people who have done it before, who are in the process of doing it with a peer group, or people who just really want to cheer you on. A book is a project. Bottom line, a book is a project.
Welcome to Sell Your Book. It's the podcast for existing or aspiring self-published business book authors who want to know what's working right now to help you sell more books, get more clients from your books, and expand your opportunities. If this is your vibe, you gotta subscribe. Now, let's get into today's conversation. Welcome to this episode of Sell Your Book. And I love bringing up people who are in the thick of it and who are doing the thing. So today we are speaking to someone who has we are talking to someone who has 14 titles to her name, okay? So we are talking with, and I need, y'all, it's only because, I just made a milestone birthday recently that we need these every now and then. So don't mind me. But anyhow, today we are speaking with Miss Samantha Gregory. She is the Self-Care Alchemist. She is your guide from burnout to better boundaries, balance, and bliss, honey. Okay? Clock it. She specializes in self-care coaching for brilliant, exhausted women, helping them to thrive in their business or career while having a balanced personal life. So I want to share with you just a few of the titles that she has available on Amazon. And they include No More Crumbs, How to Stop Dating and Mating for Crumbs and Get the Cake You Deserve in 10 Crucial Steps. She's also the author of The Magic Money Formula and Author Visibility, Top 10 Ways to Get Visibility for Your Book, which is perfect for what we're talking about today, right? So I want to welcome Miss Samantha Gregory. How you doing?
Hello, Denise Renee. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm going to get my life together here.
Okay.
Because if the audience only knew, it's the power of editing that edited out all my antics this morning.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so glad we are here today and having this conversation. And when I spoke with you a couple of weeks ago, you were telling me how you started off in tech and then you moved into what you're doing. So I'd love for you to just give us a little bit more shape into what it is that you do and how you got to what it is that you're doing. And then we'll get into your books.
Sure. So I was in tech for about 20 years. And when I say tech, I'm not talking about programmer or computer developer, all that good stuff. I'm talking about more technical support roles in terms of writing, because I have a degree in English. So I was a technical writer, instructional designer, creating courses for Fortune 500 companies. And I later on, when the internet was born, I got on and I started a blog, which started or jump-started my online writing career. And from there, I kept writing blogs for single moms, talking about personal finance, parenting, and personal development so that I could share my strategies, my tips, my resources for women who were struggling to survive, not just financially, but relationally, struggling in their parenting. And later on, I decided I'm going to put all these tips in one little book. And this was the very first book I wrote, which was 100 Secrets of Successful Single Motherhood. In that book, I share my tips and 100 tips for them. And then the next book I wrote was No More Crumbs, How to Stop Dating and Mating for Crumbs and Get the Cake You Deserve at 10 Crucial Steps. So my path from tech to being a writer to now being a self-care alchemist, which is basically a self-care coach for exhausted women, was a pretty roundabout path. I think everything kind of integrated because in tech, you get exhausted, you get stressed out. And so sharing my strategies for moving out of that space is where I'm landed now.
Awesome. So you come from a writing background. So you have that English degree like I do.
Yes.
So tell me about what writing meant for you as a youngster and what drove you to get into having a writing degree or an English degree.
Well, actually, it started because I'm a great lover of books. I love reading, and I read books like I read Roots when I was maybe 15 or 16 years old.
Girl, the
Um,
saga.
Look, I had the time. So, and it was a way for me to escape into a different world, to learn about different people, characters, how people operate in the world. And I just loved reading. And then when I found out, when I went back to school, I was business was going to be my degree, but then I was in an English class and it hit me. And I asked my professor, I was like, you mean I can literally do this. I can get a degree in English and I can do the thing I enjoy, which is reading. And I also wanted to be a magazine editor as well. So, because I love magazines too. So that's kind of how I got my degree in English and how my love of writing blossomed. Because I didn't consider myself a writer back then, like when I was a kid, but reading was definitely the launching pad for me to start my writing career.
I want to talk about that a little bit more because I do work with people who don't consider themselves to be a writer.
Hmm.
They are, an expert in what it is that they do. They have this service, they have this product, they know that thing, and they want to share their expertise in a book to leverage all of the benefits that you can get from that comes from being an author. All right, real quick, we need to talk about something because every time you go to a conference, attend an online summit, or you're listening to a podcast, you're being taught by somebody who wrote a book. And it's working your nerves because you know you need to write a book too. Because you're missing out on these brand building and money making opportunities. Maybe you haven't written your book yet because you don't know what topic to write about, or you don't know how to structure your book in a way that positions you as an expert. You may not even be sure exactly how you're supposed to be getting clients from your book. No worries, because I got you. Download my free 4 steps to book writing success, and it's going to give you the solutions to the book writing problems you have and help you think through other issues you didn't even know you needed to. Head over to writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps. That's writingwithdeniserenee.com/the number 4 and the word steps, no spaces. Let me help you get started writing your life-changing and business-changing book right now. I mean it. Hit pause and go to writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps, download it for free, then come on back. Hit unpause and let's get back into this conversation. I do work with people who don't consider themselves to be a writer.
Hmm.
They are, an expert in what it is that they do. They have this service, they have this product, they know that thing, and they want to share their expertise in a book to leverage all of the benefits that you can get from that comes from being an author. But they don't feel right like a writer.
Hmm.
So what was that? What made that shift for you? So even though you're a great reader, and what helped you to make that shift into either feeling like a writer or maybe just jumping over that feeling and just saying we're gonna go ahead and get started writing? So tell me a little bit about that.
It was my passion for helping people. That's really what drove me to put on my writing cap. I was on my self-empowerment journey and my mindset shifting space. And even before I started writing, I call myself an author. I said that I'm an author because I knew that was going to launch me and help me to reach this goal that I had set out to write this book to help these group of women so that I can get the message out there to the most amount of people in one short book.
I love it. Okay. I think sometimes, people dismiss, mindset shifts and saying affirmations and things like that.
Mhm.
Sometimes people dismiss it as being woo woo.
Yep,
Yeah, but it works.
it does.
You really have to develop the mindset for something. It's like, be, do, have. That is, we try to do, have, and then be, but
Mhm.
really it's the reverse. We have to be that thing in our mind. And then if we think that we are, then we'll do the things that, if we think we're a writer, we're going to do the things that writers do, which is
Mhm.
write. And then we will have the things that writers have. You get that authority building factor. You have that, it's still, still today in 2024, it is still a big deal to people to be an author because so many people have ideas and they never cross the finish line. So
Right.
I love it. Okay, so tell me a little bit, even though this is really more, and we're going to get into the selling aspect of your books and, all of the different books that you've written. But I'd love if you can drop a few gems on what your writing process is. How in the world did you come to write 14 books?
Look,
Drop the gems.
yes, yeah, yeah. So, writing the first book was really me making a list of all the things that I was doing or I read about or wanted to do that would help me in my process or in my journey of single motherhood. So from that list, I figured out how to format it because I had some graphic design background. I in school, so I figured out how to format the little book. I looked for a self-publishing company, and I just put everything together. And I think being kind of fearless, if you want to call it that, also is one of the things that you really have to do if there's a goal you want to reach. You got to let go of that fear. And I'm not saying that I'm always fearless in every part of my life, but in the things I truly deeply want to do, I had to become fearless, and I had to figure everything is figure outable before that even became a word. Um, I was going to find a way to make it happen, and that was just my mantra. So making that list, looking for the resources, being a resourceful person, I think that also helped me in my journey of writing books and um, getting going from writing, writer's block, editing, and then publishing. Those are That's the thing that you have to get in your mind that you have to do and understand that it's not just a one and done. Writing is just a little part of it. It's the other things that you have to do, especially if you're going to be self-published or if you're going to go even with a publisher, because you have the whole editing process and all the different types of editing that has to go into writing a book. And and it is not
Hallelujah. Let them know. Let them know.
and it's not, I won't say it's easy, but it could be strenuous, it could be tenuous, it could be it's literally a marathon. Writing a book is a marathon. And you can do it if you condition your mind, if you be patient with yourself, and if you get the support that you need from other people who have done it before, who are in the process of doing it with a peer group, or people who just really want to cheer you on. And don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't talk about, I mean, a book is a project. Bottom line, a book is a project. In my second book, I set a goal to write 1,000 words a day. And I I think it was like one of the first things I did in the morning because for me, I'm a morning person. My mind is fresh, it's open, and I'm ready to get all the things that's happening in my head, get it out there on paper. And I didn't edit myself. I set the goal to write 1,000 words, and I did free writing. And I continued that until I felt I was done with the book, at least the draft of the book. And then after that, I went back and I edited it. And then I also got someone else to do the editing for me as well, because doing your own editing you can, but again, the writing process that takes enough out of you. Then to have to go back and edit. Okay, yeah, you can do like a once over first edit, but let someone else edit it for you so that you can catch, because you've been looking at this thing, staring at this thing
Too
for
long.
months.
Too long. Thank you for breaking down that process. I actually have a video that's coming out. Well, the time that I actually don't know. We're recording this. I don't know when this is going to come out just yet because I'm recording like my first 5 episodes and then we'll organize it.
Mhm.
But by the time people see this episode, there is a video that I'm publishing in a few days that talks about a writing process. And I'm going to put it up on the screen right here. So after this video, you guys go run, okay, run, to watch this particular video because it's so important to have a process for writing. For some dumb reason, I don't know why people think that. I think it's Hollywood. Hollywood must have, given us this image that a writer is somebody who's just like sits down in this room and they lock themselves away and they start typing and the book comes out perfectly from beginning to end. No.
No, not at all.
And I'm glad that you really help to separate. There is a time for writing, there's that creativity, there's just letting it out, there's free writing, that's a technique. Um, but then once you've done that, then you go back and you edit, and now you go into your critical mode. And
Mhm.
you do have to self edit. And then once you feel like, okay, I've gotten it to where I think I want it, then you go on and you work with an editorial team and perfect it for publication. And so you said earlier there's, lots of things. So boom, that's definitely the first part. That's just the
Yeah.
creating the baby. That's just,
Yes.
you've been pregnant for 9 months, okay? And now we're about ready to push out this baby. And now that this baby is here, Lord, that baby gonna cry. That baby gonna
Mhm.
need milk. That baby gonna need Pampers. That baby needs a lot
A lot of attention,
to
a lot of
grow up
care.
that baby. So
Mhm.
tell us, what do you do to prepare to launch your books and to sell your idea babies? Because I call books idea babies.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I didn't know and what I did not do when I first published my first book was you should already have an audience. And I kind of did, but I didn't. And to be talking about what the project again that you are creating, the baby that you are incubating, so that everybody will be ready to celebrate and support and be able to be ready to buy what you have. And so I kind of did it backwards. That's not, I don't recommend that, the first book. And then, but once the book is written and you have your email list, you have your true fans who are ready and, chomping at the bit to get this book, the next thing you can do is start either guest be a guest on a podcast. You can have your book launch parties. You can have your blog parties because you can, connect with bloggers who are either in your genre of the book, and you can just share excerpts of the book and just on social media, of course. You got to do that. Let people know all about the book, how it connects and relates to their life, how it can improve their life if it's a nonfiction. If it's a fiction, then the excitement that's in the book. Now, I haven't written a fiction book yet. I have one that's in my brain, but I haven't written it yet. But getting people ready for the excitement of the book and letting the and pulling out quotes, pulling out excerpts, doing interviews like this, just share, 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 and then you may start. That could be a launching pad for speaking as well. And I think that also helps you with the marketing of the book because you are positioning yourself as an expert, as a thought leader, and letting people know that, hey, I'm out here, this book is ready, and here's what I have to say. And also get into conversations and community with other people, whether it's writers, people who are in your genre, people who are in your niche, who with on the topic that you wrote about, and just start to, and not just start, but continue to talk about your book, promote your book, um, and let people know the value of the book, so that especially if it's going to be life changing or transformational.
I love that. I guess going along with the theme of, motherhood, single motherhood, it's much easier to have a baby in community than to go it alone. And
Yes.
when you have to go, sometimes we mothers find ourselves in a variety of situations when we enter into motherhood. And some who come into single motherhood, you find that it gets easier when you develop a community around you. So it's not
Mhm.
impossible um, to grow that community and grow that audience from your book. But I
Mhm.
think it's important that if you don't have an audience right now and you still want to write a book, don't let not having an audience discourage you. Just
Mhm.
understand you're probably going to build your community along the way as you
Right.
go to promote the book, and it'll make selling your next books even easier.
Yes.
because you would have gained people. And that's the other thing. I think sometimes people think of writing books as like they're going to be a one hit wonder.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I used to watch this show. Well, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I still watch it with my son called Phineas and Ferb. And
Hmm.
if you know, you know, it is the most ridiculousness, and I love it. But they're these two little mischievous little boys. They're so smart. They build stuff every single day, and it always
Hmm.
disappears at the end of the day. And so one day, their goal was to become a one-hit wonder. So all they did was they recorded this song. It was so massively popular, and everyone was like, "Hey, we can put your face on billboards. We can do this." And they were like, "No, we just wanted to have that one song, and that's it.
Right.
We're going back home." I think sometimes people think, "Yeah, just I'm gonna write this one book, and
Hmm.
that's gonna be it." No, really think about book writing books as a like a secondary career, really,
Hmm.
and it's a secondary income source. And we'll get into that in a second, so that you're not just this one hit wonder. You're really giving people a lot of value over time. And the nice thing is that the longer you are an author, the more you're promoting your new books. People always want to know, well, what else do you have? And it's like, by the way,
Hmm.
Samantha's like, by the way, baby, there's 13 others where this came from.
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to get into, as comfortable as you want to share. But there's a statistic, and I keep coming to this part of the interview, and I'm going to put it in my notes. I am, because I keep leaving it out. But there's this statistic that shares that self-published authors tend to make like under $1,000 a year from their book, or I don't remember if it was a year or over the lifetime of the book. I'm not sure. Oh, but they sell a very small amount of copies. They don't make a lot of money from it. But I'm usually working with people who want to write a book, not necessarily just to be an author, but to really supplement or help
Mhm.
to advance their personal brand in their business, so that it helps them get more clients and more customers. And I'm of the belief, and I've seen it happen, and this is why I'm interviewing people like you, where they've published their books. However, they sold however many or however much they've made off the top line of the book, but they've seen that really trickle in to their business and really help them grow their business revenue, their coaching revenue, their
Mhm.
course revenue, or their speaking, the dollars that they get from speaking. So tell me, how has writing books helped you establish and grow your brand and bring more money into your business outside of whatever you made from the direct sales of the book?
Well, I think in a couple of ways for me, because what I found is when I promote my book does sell. And I also found that giving my book away at different events gets more exposure to my book, and also gets me on platforms that without a book I probably wouldn't have gotten on, because in the eyes of many people, writing a book means that you're an expert. So that has allowed me to get on podcasts. It has allowed me to coach more people, to share my story, to encourage and empower people. It's given me the opportunity to get more clients for sure.
Real quick, I know you're enjoying today's conversation, but do you want to write a book that helps you get clients for your business, grows your audience, and expands your opportunities, but you don't know how to get started writing this type of a book that can help you produce these results? Even if you don't feel like an expert, the very act of writing a book will help position you as one. And there is a proven path forward that will help you get what you want. I put it all together for you in my 4 steps to book writing success. Visit www.writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps. Not only do you get the steps, but I also give you videos for each step, breaking them down so that you would know your actionable steps to follow to get started writing your book right away. So hit pause on this episode right now and head over to writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps to download, and then unpause so we can get back into this conversation.
In the eyes of many people, writing a book means that you're an expert. So that has allowed me to get on podcasts. It has allowed me to coach more people, to share my story, to encourage and empower people. It's given me the opportunity to get more clients for sure. People who want me to help them write their book. I've had clients like that. writing clients, and also to create courses for them. So I'm a course creator. I mentioned earlier I'm an instructional designer, for Fortune 500 companies, and so that lends well to helping entrepreneurs, experts to create a course for themselves, so that whether it's based on the book that they wrote or some other methodology that they have. So those are some ways that having a book, writing a book, has helped me to make more money in my business, position me as an expert and a thought leader, and just expand my empire, basically. You're on mute.
Just trying to be good and not let my background noise bleed through. But honey, she said the empire. Okay, the empire
Yes.
is striking back.
Yes.
Um, Let me know, however much you want to share. Do you have a number or an approximate number of like how many books you've sold overall? Or actually, you know what? Talk to us about your first book. How, especially because I think that a lot of people can relate to, I want to write this book. I don't have an audience. I'm afraid that it's not going to sell. Tell us a little bit, if however much you'd like to share, of about how much how much how many books you sold, about how much you made from it, and what you did to kind of roll yourself over into the next book.
Honestly, like I mentioned before, with the first book, I did not publicize it as much as I probably should have. I didn't have, even though I had the audacity to write the book, I didn't really have the audacity to market the book. So that's the honest truth. So I would say I sold and probably gave away more than I sold, because, like I said, it was a heart project. It was one that I wanted to just really share my thoughts and ideas with single moms and help encourage them. And so I think maybe 100 or so books is what I sold in the beginning, and that was back in 2004, maybe. Um, I'm not sure how many have sold since then, because I haven't really kept a running number of that. But yeah, the first book, that's pretty. It wasn't a large number, but take a lesson from me. Don't do what I did. Make sure that you have a good marketing plan. Make sure you're building up your audience so that they will know what you're doing and be able to buy what you've written. The second book, actually, I didn't really connect the first with the second, even though it's kind of adjacent genre, because this was more toxic relationship recovery, but single moms do deal with a lot of toxic relationships, and so I think that was a bit of a correlation. So with that book, I had a launch party. I had a countdown to when the book was launching. I think I sold, I think, like 2,000 something books in the beginning. And over time, I've sold incrementally, probably 50 to 100 books a year. But like I said, it was a launch pad for me to become a thought leader and to write more books, to collaborate on other books as well. So that's pretty much how with the second book went.
Okay. And then how has that helped you? What would you say is the book title that has helped you gain like the most clients into your business?
Hmm. Um. Probably the No More Crumbs. Seriously, that's the book that people
That's a
know
catchy
me by.
title.
Yeah, yeah.
And
They
if you're in
know
the
me.
church world, no more sheets. So it's like kind
Right.
of a play on that.
Exactly. So it has to be No More Crumbs, because that's like the book I kind of lead with. And even though it is a book about toxic relationships, it lends well to toxic workplaces, toxic bosses, toxic family members, because if the reality is, so many of us are dealing with a toxic type of situation or relationship of some form. So I actually thought about writing a series of No More Crumbs books, No More Crumbs finances, No More Crumbs uh religion, No More Crumbs, all the
Where is
things.
it? Where is it? Where is it? Because I'm ready to eat. Okay.
Right, right. And it's really about empowering yourself and healing yourself. And I like the sub. I kind of wrote an abridged version of the book, and it's really 10 ways to recognize, reject, and release toxic relationships. And I think that doing this series would be very helpful to a lot of people, not just, like I said, not in the relationships, intimate relationships, but family relationships, work relationships, any kind of relationships that we find ourselves in, and even toxic situations. And sometimes realizing that we are the toxic person and we need to get it together and release that, heal that, and create and reinvent yourself, basically, so that you're no longer a toxic source for yourself or other people.
Listen, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but these lyrics that she wrote, it's me.
Hmm.
Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. I'm
Yes.
like, girl, if there's one thing that lady can do, that lady can write a song.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let us know a little bit more about where we can find you and find your titles if we're interested in, in your books as well as in getting coaching with you.
Sure. So the best place is my website, samanthagregory.com. And to find my books, I samanthagregory.com/lifeprint dash publishing. So I created my own publishing company because I was writing so many books and courses and workbooks. And so I said, you know what, why not just, create my own publishing company? So it's Lifeprint Publishing, and you can go there to see all of the books that I have written, whether it's ebooks or print books. You can also find my books on Amazon. Just look up Samantha A. Gregory, and you'll find those books there, along with the collaborations. I think I've done maybe 3 or 4 collaborations where I've co-written books with other authors as well. And I think that also is a great way to start your writing process if you want to write a book. You can find me on social media. Look up Samantha Gregory at Samantha Gregory on YouTube, on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook is S.A. Gregory. But you can also find my business page there as well. And there's a page for No More Crumbs. So I'm everywhere. And but you can find me mostly on LinkedIn. That's where I do most of my work. And I also have a newsletter that I publish on Substack and on LinkedIn.
Okay, so I was about to, give the wrap up question, but now I got another question.
Okay.
So you mentioned that you were a part of, you said 4 book collaborations.
Hmm.
I have an episode coming out with a friend of mine who basically has started her author career being a part of a number of book collaborations, and she
Hmm.
talks about that. And I am infamously not a fan of, like, generally not a
Yeah.
fan of book collaborations
Right.
because I have seen some go horribly wrong, and
Hmm.
then I've seen some go really right.
Hmm.
But I think it can be a tool for people to like kind of get your feet wet if you're not ready to commit to, I am like the high content, high value book, 50,000 plus word.
Hmm.
That's me. Those are the
Hmm.
books that I love to write. I love to read. I love to help people with. But that may not be for everyone, or you may not want to start
Right.
there. And I recognize that. So tell me a little bit about some of the book project collaborations that you've been in. How did you find out about them? How did you get started with them? Have they helped you grow your business? And then I'll come back with my wrap up question.
Sure, sure, sure. So the 2 of them, they contacted me again because I had my blog, Rich Single Mama. I don't think I talked about that, but Rich Single Mama was the blog back in 2008 that I started, and which launched the first book. So I was known in that community for mom bloggers, and so I was contacted to contribute a chapter in the books. And then the most recent project was, I think I saw a post and I got involved in the project. And I won't say that the first 2 were pretty good, and I also was an accountability partner and collaborating, and I had been on this one lady's podcast a couple of times, in a series, and so she invited me to write a chapter in her book. So, it's been either collaborations that I've been invited to, or I saw a post and I said, "I wanna be involved," especially the projects that involve single motherhood, because I know that I have a voice that is not unlike any other voice in this space. And because I have been like online doing this for almost 15 years. And so I felt that I could lend my voice to that project. Now, would I do another collaboration? Probably not, because I'm not saying that it was a bad experience. I'm just saying that you don't get as much exposure that you would want. You can have bragging rights and say, yeah, I wrote a book, yeah, I wrote a chapter and everything, but it's not your book. You don't necessarily get the um, income from that directly. Indirectly, yes. And then you can also take the chapter that you wrote. You can create content from that. I mean, that's what I do. And so because that content is valuable, what you have to say is valuable. So you have to find a way to repurpose it. You can create a little ebook from that as well and just sell it on your own if you like, because those are your rights. You wrote it. It's your intellectual property. So take it, use it, do whatever you want to do with it. So
That's
that's what I would
our IP.
suggest.
All right,
Yeah.
that's right. That's that IP. I love that. That
Hmm.
we just got an extra gem there. I love it.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. So if you would close us out with just, a final thought for anyone who is thinking about getting started with writing their book. And, do you have a final gem to share with us for how to best sell your book?
Hmm. Um, I would say if you have a desire to write a book, um, then don't let that desire be diminished or squashed because you don't feel confident about your ability to write. Because writing, like I said, is only a small percent of it, but your ideas, your expertise, the world needs that because it's only you that has that particular mix of information and expertise and strategies and tips. So take that and talk to someone like Denise Renee and talk to someone who have written books before and who can give you some insight and some tips and strategies to make that process go smoother. To sell more books, I would say build your audience. Build your audience first because if you are, especially if you're self-publishing, now if you're with a regular publisher, they can help you, but they are also saying you need to have an audience. There needs to be people behind you that you can talk to, that you have influence over. Um, and use that as your launch pad for your marketing. And definitely, please get a marketing strategy. That's a big part of it. My book, Author Visibility Guide, does help you with that. So it's on my website. It's also on Amazon, and it's especially for introvert authors, people who are not really big into being on video, not big on just being boisterous and extroverted in their marketing, but it's 10 ways, well, I think no, it's more than that. It's 20 plus ways to market your book or any other product that you have in a way that helps you conserve your energy, but still put yourself out there in a way that's meaningful and that gets your book sold.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate you for being here and for sharing the gems,
Yes.
the bars, all of the things. This episode was really rich with a lot of tips. So thank you so much for sharing yourself and sharing your tips. And you guys and gals, writers, we will see you, or I will see you in the next episode.